the raise hand list that is shown in the Google Meet members menu, right? So it is requested that nobody speaks out of order. Once a person is done with their whatever they're trying to tell, they should lower their hands and allow the next person to speak. Um, Nothing more. I hope this is a fun session wherein we all get to learn something. And with that, let's begin. All right. So how are we going to structure this session? This session has basically 4 parts. In the first part, we're going to deal with motions in general. We're going to talk about what is a motion, how should you read a motion, how is a motion worded, how is it structured, and second part is how do you deal with emotion in terms of how do you interpret certain phrases that have been used in emotion, and how do you build on strategies, how do you create strategies which you can use further on when it comes to the third part, which is argumentation structure. Argumentation structure is very important because it mainly it's the heart of your entire case, it's the heart of your entire speech, right? If you can build proper arguments, if you can build arguments that are persuasive, that can carry out as much information as possible, you're basically maximizing your chance to win a debate, right? So we'll deal with how to properly structure your arguments and frame them. And after all of this is done, we'll do a nice packaging and make sure that concept is completely understood using examples. All right. First off, what is a motion? This seems like a very uh, simple thing to describe, but then of course there's a lot of interpretation that is involved when it comes to more difficult motions. Of course, like on most levels, the motion is very straightforward in terms of what it requires of you, but then there are certain specific words that are used which should be used as hints that you can tool you can toolify them in order to build your case. So simply stated, a question or a statement that describes either implicitly or explicitly the extent and limits of the debate. All right, this is a very generally worded statement. What this basically means is it sets the tone, it sets the topic, it sets the agenda for the debate, and it also defines what you can and should not talk about, right? So it tells you that in a debate about say AI, you should not start talking about agriculture, right? If it's not clearly implied, if you don't give me a clear bridge, there are a lot of other topics that simply don't make sense. And this is what a motion tells you, right? In a good debate, a good motion is basically something that gives equal weightage to both sides. It is equally fair, which means that there are good points, good arguments that can be brought forth from both sides of the debate, right? It is charitable, it is somewhat beneficial for both sides equally, right? That's what a good motion should be like. And making motions in of itself is an art, right? So it becomes very tricky when you're trying to build motions that can favor both sides. Is this completely clear? This is not very important, but I hope, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Akshara will answer. Yeah, please go ahead.
I didn't understand the structure of a motion.
Okay, so when we talk about, I'll show you examples that will probably make it clearer, but I'll just give you like one statement, a structure. The structure will be able to tell you what specific phrases or what specific stakeholders, I'll define that word later on. Just like remember this, the word stakeholders, what stakeholders should you focus on? That's what a structure will be able to tell you. Huh, Sandy. I hope that becomes clearer later on. Yeah. Go ahead. Sandy, yeah. I thought you had said something.
Sir, I didn't understand the implicity and explicity.
Yeah, I realize this is not like in the sense that it is very generally worded. The intention is basically to make like in a lot of ways you have to like read between the lines. Motions say something, they might mean something else, which is why we use the word implicitly. Implicitly basically means it is something that you have to come to like realize by yourself, something that you have to deduce by yourself. So in a lot of cases, the motion actually like hints to a lot more meaning than is hinted in the wording itself. Yeah, Ramya.
Sir, can you please explain me the line? In a debate, a good motion is one which gives almost equal weightage to both sides of the house.
Yeah. I mean, in general, like when you're talking about like engaging debates, an engaging debate can only occur when like both sides have something to speak about. right? If I say that if a very bad motion is something like this house does not support say murder, right? I mean, okay, for the government, for the person who is supporting the team which is supporting the statement, there are a lot of points, right? Human life is valuable, it is against the law, civil rights, right? But then for the other side, there are basically no points. This is a bad motion. This is a very bad motion, right? A good motion is, we'll come across other examples later on, but a good motion is something that gives like a lot of points for both sides to talk about. There's a lot of chance for extensions and a lot of analysis that is available for both sides, right? All right, I hope all doubts are cleared, and moving on. Great. Yeah, Chaitanya, go ahead.
So in the motion, so I didn't understand that line. The first one, so
Mhm.
so which mean that so can you please
Yeah, go there, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
so so it mean a question or a statement that describes that either imperativity or explicitity the
Explicitly,
extent
right.
the extent limits of the debate.
Mhm. It basically sets, okay, like the first thing I said, like it basically sets the tone, the topic of the debate. It will tell you what are the things you should talk about, what are the things you should be concerned about, right? Like this will become, I guess we all understand on a very like basic level what a motion is. This is just like a very general wording of it. I realize this could be confusing, but then this is the best way to describe it. I mean, this will become clearer like once we get on to more examples. Ayog.
Sir, what can you tell me the meaning of implicity or explicitity?
Right. Implicitly basically means something that has to be understood without mentioning. If I say something, then and like you're supposed to understand apply deeper analysis and then understand what I'm trying to say. That means that I'm saying that implicitly. It's not important. Like you can look it up later in a dictionary or something. But then the thing is that like in a lot of motions, you have to read between the lines. There is a lot that is said and that there is a lot that is not directly mentioned. So you have to think what the motion actually means, and that's what like implicitly states or explicitly states. I hope all doubts are clear. We want to move ahead. All right. Uh, yes, Sadi.
So it is written that both sides of the house, I didn't understand, or equal weightage to both sides of the house.
Right. In a debate, you've got like two sides that are either one is supporting and one is opposing the motion. Right. We say both sides of the house. That's what they mean. Both teams. Both teams get something to talk about. They have arguments that they can make. I'm very sorry. We should move ahead. All right. There are two types of motions. The first is analysis-based motions, and the second is actor-based motions. In analysis-based motions, there are certain, like usually statements that have to be evaluated from a neutral perspective. What does a neutral perspective mean? In the sense that you have to talk about it in terms of how it benefits or how it does not benefit the world. Right? You should look at it from the perspective of the entire world and also from the perspective of the stakeholders. I'll tell you what a stakeholder is, but then you talk about how it overall pans out when you look at it from a bigger picture sense, right? You should talk about every person in the world and how they're being affected by a specific motion. Let me like itna like if you've understood that, like if you've not understood, the motion would help. The house regrets the trend of centering self-destructive or anti-social characters as protagonists in media. So, like when you talk about self-destructive or antisocial, these are basically traits that are not either desirable or not helpful for a person, right? So, when the burden on both of these houses, on both sides of the debate, on both houses, is to analyze the effect of having self-destructive or antisocial characters on the world in general. Or you can talk about specifically viewers of, say, all of these shows, right? So that's what we're going to talk about. That's what this motion is going to be about. The debate is going to be about. You have to analyze, you have to dissect the impact of this specific motion of self-destructive or antisocial characters on the world in general, on people in general, on people who watch these shows, on, say, like the media houses that produce these shows, right? So this becomes, yeah. Chaitanya, go ahead.
So in the analysis base, so you mean that we have to describe the situation?
Yeah. I mean, irrespective of the debate, you have to describe the situation. Like, there's a word you use for that. It's called characterization. That will come up later on as well. You're basically describing the world as you see it, and then using that description, you're going to make your claims. You're going to support them using analysis. We'll all come to that. But yes, describing the world is an integral part of any debate, right? Any case. Uh, uh, I'll describe actor-based, then I'll come back to doubts from both. Uh, Actor-based motions are basically when you have to focus your entire uh, debate to one specific actor, one specific person or group, right? So you should not care about how does the world benefit from this. What you should care about is how does this specific person benefit from this. When you come to a specific person, that is very directly depicted or very directly mentioned in the motion statement itself, right? The house as a high-ranking figure in Putin's inner circle would organize a coup. Now, the motion itself is not important, but what's important is what we're trying to tell you here. What we're trying to tell you here is that when you're trying to debate, your entire argument, your entire frame of thought, your entire frame of logic should be from the perspective of this specific person, the high-ranking figure in Putin's inner circle. You should not care about, say, people in other countries, as long as the person you're talking about, the high-ranking figure, does not care about those people. What I mean by that is when you're trying to show that the world is better off in analysis-based motions, you're trying to show that the world is better off. In actor-based motions, you're trying to show that this specific actor is better off, right? Uh, I hope that like cleared any doubts across the board. Yeah, Ramya, go ahead.
Excuse me, sir.
Mhm.
So can you please explain me once more analysis based?
Right, analysis-based motions. In analysis-based motions, you're given a topic on which you have to claim or either prove. The onus is on you to prove that either the world is better off or the world is worse off. As in, depending on your side in the debate, you have to prove to me why the world as a whole is going to improve as per this motion, right? If I talk about the trend of centering the house regrets, THR means the house regrets, the trend of centering self-destructive or antisocial characters as protagonists. So when you talk about government's case, government is the team which is trying to support this motion, right? When you talk about government's case, the government is going to prove why if self-destructive antisocial characters, since self-destructive antisocial characters exist, they're going to detrimentally affect, they're going to worsen the lives of people who are watching these shows, right? And they're going to say that if this were not the case, if self-destructive or antisocial characters were not becoming protagonists, then like the world would be more positive. It would like world would be better off, right? And on the other side, the onus is on them to prove that even if you keep like by keeping self-destructive or antisocial characters, the world is going to the people are not badly affected or negatively affected, right? So you're talking about how all people in general are going to be affected by the uh, central theme in this motion, right?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So can you please tell me the meaning of protagonist?
Okay. Protagonist is the main character. Protagonist is that literally means main character. They're the central character on whom the entire story is based. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
All right. If there is anything that like any word that does not make sense to you, please let me know. Yeah, go ahead. Next. Who's next? Akshara.
Yes. What's an actor in this scenario?
Yeah, the actor. What we mean by actor is the person from whose perspective we are going to look at the debate, right? Unke, like we're going to be in their shoes and try to analyze the situation. In the second, in this specific motion, the actor is the high-ranking figure, right? It's as in the high-ranking figure. We're going to look at this situation from their perspective.
What do you mean by high ranking figure? I didn't understand.
Acha, okay. In this specific motion, a high-ranking figure in Putin's, Putin, right? I hope you do.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yes. Great. So, like a high-ranking figure would probably be like one of the ministers or a member of Putin's party or something like that. That is up to you to define. These like nitty-gritties of the motion itself. But then the idea is that you're going to define who a high-ranking figure. You're going to be very sure by when you're trying to prepare for your debate. You'll you'll have to define in your mind what a high-ranking officer is, high-ranking figure is, and then on the basis of that, you'll be able to like chalk out your entire debate. Right? A high-ranking officer, yeah, it's basically somebody who's like the higher ministries are handling certain things. Right? Uh, who's next? It's Sanvi. Yeah.
Can you explain actor-based motion again? I didn't understand quite well.
Yeah, fine. An actor-based motion is basically one where you're looking at the entire debate through the lens, through the eyes of a very specific person or group. Right. When in this specific situation, in this specific motion, this house as a high-ranking figure in Putin's inner circle would organize a coup. In this situation, you're going to look at organizing a coup through the eyes of that high-ranking of some high-ranking figure. How is organizing a coup going to benefit them or not benefit them in the other side case, right? So actor base me, you're only going to look at only their benefits, nobody else, only their benefits, only their happiness.
Okay, thank you.
All right. uh I think next is Sunny. Yeah.
So, can you give an example of expressing the actor-based motion? Like, can you speak as an example?
See, you want a point, as in you want an argument.
Yes, sir.
All right, so say Russia is a very big country. Russia is okay, I'll what I'm doing right now is sort of what I will teach you how to do in the future. I'm just like take note of how I'm building my argument. That will become very clear once I go on to teach you how to build an argument. Right? Russia is a very big country. Russia is a country with a lot of munitions, a lot of power, a lot of influence, a lot of control over trade. It's got very big allies in, say, China and other allied communist countries. So if a person from like Putin's inner circle was to usurp or was to like snatch power from Putin, okay, a coup, just to make sure everybody is on the same page, is like snatching power. You're like dethroning Putin and putting yourself on the throne, right? Uh, so if I, as a high-ranking officer, was to dethrone Putin and put him there, put myself there, then see that like because Russia holds such immense power and control over international trade, international policy making, so on and so forth, I can by usurping this power, I have access to a lot of resources, a lot of power for myself, right? And on on a very fundamental basis, we can say that everybody cares for some sort of power. So it is something that I want, right? By showing that A, I'm going to get power, and B, I want power, I can prove that if by organizing a coup, the high-ranking figure would be benefited, right? This is a very, very, very basic argument. There are a lot of like inner things that you can get into, but then this is what it could look like, right? I'm trying to say that the high-ranking officer figure would benefit from organizing that coup, which is why I believe a coup should be organized. This is the government's case, right? Yeah, I hope that clears your doubt.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Great. Next is Ayog Agarwal. You guys can like you can see your names on the list, so like apne aap se you can come up and start speaking.
Sir, can you explain analysis-based type of motion again?
Right. So analysis-based motions, you're just analyzing the situation as a whole, and you're trying to maximize global happiness. You're trying to maximize global benefit. You're trying to say that like more people are going to be benefited from this, or not benefited from this. If you're able to prove either one of this, then you win the debate. Right? As in, one side has to prove one thing, the other side has to prove one thing. If one side is able to do it better, then that side wins. Right? In an analysis based motion, like in this specific example, like let's take another example. uh Okay, the house would ban homework, right? When you talk about banning homework in an analysis-based motion, say like I am uh, government, right? Okay, same opposition. I am speaking against banning homework. I would say that because homework is banned, children don't have anything to do once they go back home. No way for them to reflect on what they've studied. No way for them to reread or revise. So then we have a world where children are A, not going to be working as hard when they go back at home, and B, they do not have as much retention. Well, they don't remember what they studied in class. Right? ऐसा होता है, like you study something in class, you go back home. The next day, when the teacher is continuing session, the lecture, you realize that like, ये क्या हो रहा है? I don't remember any of this. This is probably because you didn't have any way to go back and revise at home, right? So that's what I'm trying to hint at. So when if I say that if in a world where homework is banned, kids won't be able to effectively study. Their learning capabilities would be hindered. Their learning entire like the learning output or their ability to learn is hindered, which in turn means that we've got kids who are not either as educationally inclined or either as like as studious or sincere
Like,
as yeah.
sir, like the motion, the topic is like a very high level. Like, it is very bad that many students commit suicide for not doing homework and many things. So,
Yeah,
but
that
sir,
is a
the
Mhm.
it's called like the person who is for the motion is like only giving neutral, not that much high level argument.
Nay, I mean there are a lot of arguments that could happen here for both sides. The thing that you said about kids not being satisfied or not being happy with their lives because of them being not able to do homework or because of homework, that is an argument that you could give to me, right? But you have to prove to me this is we'll come to how to frame arguments. You've provided to me an implication, right? You've provided to me an impact, but then there are a lot more layers to this that you have to build on so that you can get to this impact, right? We'll hold on to that, right? Before we like start making arguments, let's like think about what motions exist in the first place, right? Ramya,
Thank you, sir.
right?
So can you tell me the meaning of coup?
Yeah, coup is basically like dethroning or like removing somebody from power. You just remove Putin from power and then you take that power for yourself. That is a coup.
So,
Yeah,
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
so can you re-explain me actor based?
right. So so an actor-based motion is basically one where you have to think from the perspective of a specific I'm sorry if this like sounds repetitive because I'm okay. So from the perspective of a specific person or group, you have to look at their only their benefits, only their motivations, only their harms, or like what do they want, right? Only them. In the case of an analysis-based motion, you're thinking about the entire world. How is the entire world benefited or like not benefited? In actor-based, you're only thinking about the specific person. In this example, as a high ranking figure. You have to think only about the high ranking figure and nobody else. Is that clear? I hope that's clear. Yeah. All right. Guys, I'm very sorry because like I hope like this becomes clear the more we get into the slides because there's a lot we're still left to cover. Just these three slides are like core information, but then it will become more fun, I guess. All right. uh Motion reading checklist, this is the first thing. There's like no set method to start like preparing for your debate, but then this is what we believe you should start with when you're trying to debate, when you're trying to build a case. All right, the first thing you should do is identifying uh, what every single term in the motion means, right? Initial clarifications. You have to make sure that you understand what, say, a coup is, or what do you mean by a self-destructive or
वैसे
anti-social
भी हम
character. I'm sorry. Did you say something? Right, moving on. So when you say like centering, self-destructive, antisocial characters, you have to know what that means. You have to make sure you completely understand. Immediately, बहुत बार होता है that when you read a motion, you don't understand it, but when you think about it, you should be able to understand it, what every single word means, and that is the first step in tackling a motion, right? That first step. The second step is identifying the central problem. This is a very important facet. This is a very important part of building your case, because then you'll be able to understand in what direction you should construct your arguments, right? What do you mean by central problem? What is the problem this motion is trying to solve here? Is it agreeable for both sides? What is it trying to achieve? So a central problem is something that a motion is trying to solve or a motion is trying to highlight, right? When you talk about, say, okay, I'll give you another example. Say this house opposes homework, right? In the situation where this we talk about this house opposes homework, uh, a central problem could be, say, like students feeling that homework is not as interesting, or homework is just like boring or useless, which is why they don't feel like they lose their interest in education in general, because homework has become kind of a drag on them. That is the central problem here that government will try to bring, right? Government will say that students will not be able to, are not engaging as much with education, mainly because homework has become sort of a drag, a boring thing for them, right? Or in many cases a source for frustration, right? So that is the central problem. I hope everybody understood that. Did everyone understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay,
Yes,
I'll
sir.
give you another example. This house would say, like, this house would ban the usage of chat gpt for schoolwork. What do you think is the problem here? Central problem. I,
Second
i'm going to
answer.
I'm going to type it out. This house would ban the use of chat gpt for schoolwork, right? Gus, go ahead. Gus.
Sorry, sir. I raised my hand by
Yeah.
mistake.
Okay, fine. uh Millie, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to ask if both the, is this possible that both the sides use an actor based?
I didn't get a question, please. Could you repeat yourself?
I was asking that is this possible that both the sides are using actor based motion?
Okay, in a debate, the motion is the same for both sides. So, like, if I tell you the house would ban the use of chat gpt for schoolwork, then X side would support this statement. X side would say house should not ban the use of chat gpt for schoolwork. Both of them identify that this is either analysis, or like it is the same for, like, this is an identification that will be common to both sides. Because इस case में this house would ban the use of chat gpt for schoolwork is an analysis based motion. There are no, like, actors specifically in this. So it will be very clear, बहुत clear होता है. So so that both sides can understand what is happening in this motion, right? There'll be more examples and they'll make it very clear for you. All
Okay,
right.
thank you, sir.
Akshara, go ahead.
I'll answer to the motion. Is there's not enough context in the use of ChatGPT for schoolwork, and the whole sentence does not make enough sense for someone to argue about.
Oh, okay. What do you mean by that?
मतलब
As
like
in,
किस
what,
कॉन्टेक्स्ट में बैन कर रहे हो और फिर क्यों बैन कर रहे हो और
you ban kar rahe ho,
there's
something is your case, right? You have to provide like reasoning as to
yes
why you're going to ban.
but it does not also provide enough context for you to argue.
I mean, interesting take. Because, like, I've seen this before, and, like, as in, I understand what you feel like. As in, it's very difficult to say that, oh, in what specific situation are you going to call something schoolwork and not schoolwork. In a lot of debates, that is like just up to discussion. Like, both sides can say what is and what is not schoolwork. If I say, like, okay, I'll help you out. If I say either uh, like students using it for homework, students using it for answering questions, student using it for solving questions, right? So, like, if this is a redefinition that you could probably use, what is the central problem here? I hope it becomes clear. It's not as murky as it was before.
It's but
Yes,
then
sir.
again, there can be a lot of things that, you know, why do you ban it? बहुत सारी
That's
चीजें आ जाती हैं इसमें.
you have to tell me why to ban it. You have to use, like, that's your argument, right? You have to build arguments that will prove that okay, ChatGPT should be banned, right? That's when your actual, like, speech comes into play.
Okay.
I hope you got it. I'm huh.
I got it. I do not have any other answer.
Yeah. Huh. Sorry. Huzaifa, go ahead.
Yeah. So answering your question, basically, both the sides could take a different takes on schoolwork. So, if somebody believes that schoolwork is homework, and then based on that, they could argue that by using an AI-based tool for homework, you'll not let the students use their own mental capability, and therefore it will not enhance their thinking capabilities and will not really add to their education. But if
Fair.
the opposing side could take schoolwork as probably if they have certain questions in understanding a topic, then they could say that ChatGPT should not be banned because they could use it to answer their questions.
Right. Okay. Okay. Just to, like, make sure, I'm not asking for arguments. I'm just asking what is the central problem here. I understood what you're trying to say. That is a very, very valid argument that you just gave me. What is the central problem here that the motion is trying to solve? That either side will say is either side will claim to be the central problem. For side gov, which is trying to push for a banning of ChatGPT usage, what do they think is the problem here that they're going to solve by banning ChatGPT? I I hope you understood. Like, what does
Yeah.
banning ChatGPT solve here?
How? Okay, I got it.
Huh. I mean, that is a very valid argument, by the way. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Sir, I cannot understand the initial clarifications and stakeholder analysis.
We haven't gotten to stakeholder analysis yet. We just talked about initial clarifications.
Okay,
Initial
sir.
clarifications means, like, you should understand what every single word in the debate means, in the motion means. You should be able to understand, like, from that, like, what kind of a motion it is. Is it an analysis based motion or like actor based motion? Right. From there, you can go on to the other aspects of the
Like,
debate.
going deep in the motion
Yeah.
to understand deeply.
Huh. Okay, so in this, you should be able to define what a high-ranking figure means, right? That's one. What do you talk, like, a high-ranking figure in Putin's inner circle means, and then second thing, what do you mean by a coup, right? These are two things that should be clear in your mind. Like, you should, like, explicitly mention that in the debate so that both sides will be able to understand what they're going to debate on. Right. When you talk about centering self-destructive or antisocial characters, what does that mean? What is a self-destructive or antisocial character? I mean, that's not a very deep definition. It's like you just have to say, you just have to use those words. But then, what do you mean by making a self-destructive or antisocial person a protagonist in some TV show or a movie? What does that mean? So, like, these are basic definitions. Basic things, just like when you look at it, you should be able to understand what is the motion intending to tell you. Right. I'll move on to stakeholder analysis. After that, I'll take all the doubts that are there and I'll also explain understanding the solution. Right. We're going to use the example of ChatGPT because that's a very handy example. Stakeholder analysis. Who is being affected by this motion? Right. We talk about the people who are directly being affected by this motion, directly being affected by whatever is the statement, right? And in general, this is a important uh, remark that you should limit your debate to this group, right? You should talk about their benefits. You should talk about how does this affect them. Say, in the situation of this, the house would ban the use of ChatGPT for homework. What do you think is the primary stakeholders. Stakeholder matlab people who are directly concerned by this, people who are directly affected by, say, banning students, right? Anything else? Ayushi?
I think first the students, then the teachers.
Yeah.
Or I think parents should be also in this. I'm not
Fair,
sure.
fair, huh? Yeah, that's a fair. I mean, if you're including parents, then you should like give some kind of logical
Yeah.
analysis as to why parents should also be concerned, right? A very logical thing would like parents are concerned about students, like academic growth, so automatically they'll be a part of this. They should care about ChatGPT being there or not there for the kids, right? This is a logical link that will be useful when you're trying to establish why a stakeholder is a stakeholder, right? Okay. I hope there are no more hands. Let's go. Okay. Understanding the solution. You should try to understand whether this solution is a viable solution in the first place. Its justifiability and its efficacy. When you talk about justifiability, is it might solve the problem, right? But is it the ethically right thing to do? When you talk about justification, you should talk about ethics. You should talk about morals, right? Is it morally correct for a person to do this? Right. Uh, say, I'm thinking of. All right. Say there is a rat in my house. Right. This is the okay. This is a very weird motion to come with. Say there is a rat in my house. Okay. Uh, a viable solution would be, let's just like drop a bomb on my house that will kill the rat, right? But then it's not justified. It will solve the problem. The problem is the rat, right? The central problem here would be the rat. But then the solution is not justified because it'll probably kill me and like people in my house as well, right? So it's not justified, even though it might be solving the problem, right? Weird example, but I hope that got through. Efficacy. Efficacy would be like how effective is it in solving the problem? If I say in order to get rid of rats, I'm going to place rat traps around my house. Is our rat traps like sturdy? Do they work well? How often are they effective? And can rats get away? That is something that will be discussed in the debate if a debate happens on this. So like efficacy is very important because efficacy is where a lot of debates lie. Say like banning ChatGPT for schoolwork. In this specific situation, efficacy will also be raised because say okay, does anybody have anything to say about efficacy in this specific motion? ChatGPT for schoolwork.
ChatGPT, banning ChatGPT would be bad as well. First things, why are students using it? The school must give them very like hard questions. That's why they could be using this. The second is they are like lazy, to be frank. They are lazy and doing stuff, not using their creativity. So like there could be two sides of it.
Right, right. Okay. Uh, like talk about efficacy. Is banning ChatGPT going to be effective in solving the central problem? What is the central problem? The central problem, say for government side, is going to be like lack of creativity or like laziness, right? Is banning ChatGPT going to solve the problem? Right, discuss that. When you're in government's
Yes.
case, huh? So I guess matlab, this is a debate in of itself, trying to prove that by removing ChatGPT, kids are not going to
Yes,
resort
sir.
to say, like kids are not going to resort to say like internet or other sources which are going to be equally diminishing to their creativity, right? Look, this is just a hint of what the debate could look like, right? Hmm. I hope literally anything. Like for all the concerned stakeholders, the stakeholder in our specific solution situation was the students, right? How does banning ChatGPT help students in solving this problem? Do you understand what I'm trying to do here? You talk about the solution, you talk about the stakeholder, and you talk about the problem. The solution was banning ChatGPT. How was it affected in helping children solve their problem of not having being creative or being lazy? Right. This like these three parts are going to come together and you'll be able to prove you'll be getting a skeleton of your argument which you can fill in with a logic and so on and so forth, right?
But
Any questions? Yeah.
students from
Excuse me, sir.
Let Ayushi finish and then we can come to
rather than using ChatGPT, they would use another thing. So like it couldn't be the efficiency.
Yeah, okay. So this like okay. A sort of rebuttal to that is like in both sides, in a world where ChatGPT exists, in a world where ChatGPT does not exist, uh, like at least in a world where ChatGPT does not exist, kids used to like they had to go through multiple sources. This is a proper like argument that I'm trying to give you here. Uh, Not a very like rough argument though. Like kids have to go through multiple sources. They have to read up in places depending on the effectiveness or the difficulty of the problem. Whereas in ChatGPT, you have to like type out one sentence and then you get the solution, which also exists in like you have access to internet sites in a world where ChatGPT exists as well. So I mean, I'm trying to show that in a world where internet plus ChatGPT is, at least the government will try to show that in a world where internet plus ChatGPT is somewhat worse off than in a world as compared to in a world where there is just internet and no ChatGPT. Will like I hope that sort of made sense.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes,
So
I
can
think
you
that's
please explain? So
Mhm.
can you please explain me the four parts once again in
Yeah.
English?
I will do that. Like let's like get to. I will do that before moving on to the next slide. Let's like sort out other doubts as well. Ayog.
Sir, you were asking for a point that how ChatGPT should get banned for kids because, sir, it impedes the development of essential skills such as critical thinking, problem solving, imagination, as it
Hmm.
reduces creativity for students that they can't make their minds sharp and they just get lazy and search
Yeah, yeah.
ChatGPT.
Fair, fair, very
But
fair. That's
but sir, they can use that for research work for good things, but not to do their homework and everything.
right. Huh. So you have to debate on the benefits or the demerits of ChatGPT. That is, that's good. That's like where the entire debate is. Most of the debate is going to happen. Nice.
It is good for some things too, but sir, if kids use that thing wrong in a wrong way, so sir, it will.
I didn't get what you said.
Sir, like ChatGPT is a good thing for research work, but sir, shouldn't choose the wrong way to use ChatGPT.
Hmm. Right. I mean, that's a fair implication that you brought there, like fair premise that you brought there. Like that will be useful when you're trying to build arguments. Nice. Huzaifa, go ahead.
So you were talking about the efficacy of banning ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're trying to ban ChatGPT to solve the problem of students researching,
Yep.
it's not the best solution because your resolution should be that you're not banning ChatGPT, you're banning all AI-based chatbots because there are alternates to chatbox to
Right.
ChatGPT like Perplexity AI and Google Card and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So that should be more of the resolutions instead of banning ChatGPT. They should be banning all sorts of AI chatbots.
Fair. Okay. I mean, okay. Let's just assume that the motion says all large language learning models instead of just ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's a better redefinition of the motion.
I was about to say the same thing, but I wanted to say that even if we ban ChatGPT, I'm pretty sure everyone uses Google as well with
Hmm.
ChatGPT because ChatGPT gives very complicated answers that every teacher can find out was like copied from somewhere. So
Right.
they
Yeah.
think so like rather they like ban the whole internet also, or rather they don't.
Okay. Yeah. Fair. Well, interesting analysis. This is going to be a very expansive debate, but okay.
So
Let's
can
I
I explain? So can I
like
give up your point?
yeah.
Chaturya?
Raise your hand. Raise your hand, please. Ramya. Like you'll be there in line, right? Ramya. Next.
So can
All
you
right.
please explain the four parts and the motion reading checklist?
Yeah, I'll do that. First, we'll handle like any doubts that everyone has. I'll do that first. I'll do that after that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. Ishani.
So please may I give a rebuttal to Ayushi?
Yeah, go ahead. Please,
Okay,
please
so
do.
like banning the internet is not a solution because internet is nowadays the base of each and everything, mostly each and everything. So like on the internet, you at least have to go and search out for sources, and like for websites, you have to research at least a bit. And in ChatGPT, you just have to type, and everything is available over there. Also, one more thing, banning ChatGPT would not be a solution as other AI bots are also there. But if there's if the owners of ChatGPT, if they remove the code of like those creative writing assignments, like most of the time schoolwork is related to creative writing assignments and those autobiography and letter writing. So like if they remove that code and like those mathematics problem code, then it may be effective because most of the time we search that only on ChatGPT.
Right. Okay. So in debating terms, this is what we call a counter proposition. Okay. Also, first of all, let's like limit ourselves to ChatGPT. वो Internet wala that was a sidetrack that was, I mean, that was very fun. But then, we should like focus on ChatGPT. This is a counter proposition. Like opposition is this is something that opposition should come up with. Like talking about inhibiting its creative writing capabilities or mathematical capabilities. Right. This is also a valid counter proposition, but then this requires some sort of justification. You should talk about this is more. You should prove why this is more effective in solving the central problem. I can see how that can be done. Yeah, fair, fine. Chaitanya, go ahead.
So,
Mhm.
so charge. Can I promote the ChatGPT?
Yeah, go ahead. Anything.
So, ChatGPT is chart. The solution is not to be uh, disable ChatGPT or ban ChatGPT. The only solution is that the account of chat, the account, because the it cannot be banned because it has many things like we can search a photo or any information that we do not know.
Mhm.
That's why we should not ban ChatGPT.
Okay. Yeah, fair point. Fair point. I hope. Yeah.
Yes, I don't remember the name that who said to ban internet, but sir, he or she was wrong by banning internet. Nowadays, everyone is dependent on internet, and like we are doing class on internet, and like 10 to 12th class
Right.
students.
I'm really sorry to cut you off. Just to make sure, internet wala sidetrack is not really important. Let's focus on the ChatGPT mostly. Right. Internet is a very interesting idea, but then let's focus on ChatGPT for now.
Okay, sorry, sir.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, what is the meaning of justificability?
Justifiability. Justifiability is, in some sense, to prove that something is morally correct, ethically correct, and uh, sorry for that, morally and ethically correct. Right. To prove that something is morally and ethically correct is to say that it is justifiable. There are more ways to talk about justifiability, but this is the like basic bare bones definition of justifiability. Ayushi, go ahead. I hope that solves your doubt. Though.
Yeah, I wanted to say that banning ChatGPT won't be the solution as well. Let's take for example ChatGPT as chocolate. You know that chocolate is bad for your health and everything, but you still eat it for the satisfaction. Yeah, but when you eat a lot of it, then it turns bad. So like using a lot of ChatGPT is also bad. But when you use it efficiently, then it's good. So banning won't be the good.
Right. So you're talking about like regulation instead of prohibition. Matlab, try to regulate the usage of ChatGPT instead of
Yeah,
completely stopping it. That's a fair argument you can bring in. That's a valid argument. Yeah, Akshara, go ahead.
Yes. Obviously, banning ChatGPT isn't an answer, but another answer could be AI detectors. Teachers or whoever people in charge can use AI detectors. There are a lot of websites on that. They can use that instead of banning it, and if used, they can talk to the student and maybe do something about
Uh, that's like a that is a mechanism. That is a fair argument, but then I just say that's a fair argument, but then there's like it's a very different definition. You're agreeing with banning ChatGPT, but at the same time not really agreeing with banning ChatGPT. You're not allowing kids to use them, but at the same time you're just like circumventing the idea of ban. Well, I get what you're trying to tell here. But then it's like banning for schoolwork. So I got your point. I hope you got my point. I'm sorry.
it. Yeah, I
It's
got
like
it.
you're like not really banning ChatGPT, you're just like prohibiting students from using it. So it's the same thing, sort of. So it's like a very soft line to take. That's what we say, a soft line. Uh, Dash.
Yes, sir. So I wanted to say that banning ChatGPT or any other AI bot or something won't be the solution. But yes, preventing students from using it will be. So yeah, like Akshara said, there are a few websites and apps for parental control, and nowadays many kids who have phones have parental control apps on their phones so that the parents know what they've been doing, and if they've used AI, their parents will know they've used in AI, and if they're using Google, then the parents will know what Google searches they've done. So it will be more effective than banning. As
Right.
they can use a ChatGPT for things which are more like if they don't know how to do something, they can ask ChatGPT.
Yeah, that depends on the definition of
Excuse me,
schoolwork.
sir.
If you define schoolwork as something like just like homework, but then in that case, you're just basically agreeing with the government. I'll
Excuse
stop. I'm very sorry. Like I'm not going. Let's like go back to the slides because we're very low on time. We just got half an hour.
excuse me, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
So may I also tell one point in ChatGPT?
Yeah. It's like can you do it fast? Thanks.
Yes, sir. So there is no way to like ban ChatGPT. We can the parents can access parental control. They can also lock their apps like ChatGPT and Google by turning on password. And when the children have some work or they can't understand anything that is in their book, so the parents can open the password and give them.
Fair. Fair. That's a fair mechanization. I'm very sorry. I'm not going to take any more. We really have to move ahead. This is like one third of the entire slides. I'm sorry. All right, we're going to move on to how to form an argument. Right, an argument is basically there's like different ways to form arguments. Uh, the best way is what we've tried to tell you. Uh, so like an argument is like a building, right? It's got multiple stages. You've got the foundation, you've got floors in the middle, and then you've got the penthouse, right? So I'm going to sort of analogize, sort of like draw parallels, try to map different parts of your argument to different parts of the structure of a building. So it becomes very important. So like a lot of people, when they say argument, you only think of the impacts, right? What does this mean? This means like children are going to become creative all of a sudden. Children are going to become better in studies. But then there is a lot more. Like that's the pinnacle. That's the last floor of your building. There are a lot of other things that you have to build so that you can get there, right? I'll try to show you what the other things look like. So there are in total 5 parts to the structure of an argument, right? Problem, we've already talked about it. Identifying the problem and then explicitly talking about the problem, the main issue that the motion is trying to solve, is very important, right? So problem and identifying stakeholders in the case of ChatGPT, or in the case of okay, I'll come up with a new example. This house would this house opposes capital punishment. This house, when I say opposes capital punishment, it basically means capital punishment is death penalty. Like sentencing somebody to a death penalty is a capital punishment, right? So there are a lot of problems that you can talk about, right? They're like, does a person deserve to die for any crime, or like if somebody is wrongly accused, they'll be immediately killed, and that is a problem because they can't prove themselves uh, innocent later on in their lives. Those are problems. But then when you talk about stakeholders in this specific situation, is say the accused, the victim, the victim's family, the judicial system. These are all stakeholders. These are all things, bodies or entities or actors that will be directly affected by this motion, right? So these are things that you will, of course, identify when you're going through this specific checklist. But then these are also important parts of an argument itself. Why? Because when we come to the premise, understand, the premise is like the foundation of your building. It will set down the behavior, the motivations, the inclinations of every single stakeholder. It is the characterization of the motion. When I mean characterization, it means a description. It means a description of what the world looks like, or what these stakeholders look like. How do they interact? How do they behave? What do they want? Right? When you talk about victims want some sort of say like uh, repayment, or some sort of we call that like a return, right? For having somebody trespass over them, right? That's what they want. This is a part of characterization, right? If you're establishing people's behaviors, people's needs, people's wants, that's the characterization, that's the premise. This is very important because using an established pattern of their behavior, you can talk about what is going to happen. You can extrude and you can expand on your argument, right? You can define what is going to happen later on because you know these people are going to behave in a certain way, right? How will stakeholders of the motion react if the given decision takes place? Say if the house would in the situation where the house opposes capital punishments. If Why does a house like oppose capital punishment? Because say if capital punishment happens, then victim's family feel like they've gotten some sort of remuneration, some sort of uh, redemption, right? Redemption basically means return. Whatever has been done to them is now safely been equalized or restored. That is what something that a victim's family could feel. So like that comes under premise or characterization, right? This is very important because when we come on to the latter part of your argument, these foundational elements can become very useful. What is an analysis? An analysis is something that utilizes your premise. It is the why part of the argument. It is any statement that you make, ask the why questions. Say in the case of capital punishment, if governments were to start banning capital punishment, somebody could say that okay, now that capital punishment is banned, death penalty is no longer a thing. If death penalty is no longer a thing, then people are going to commit more crimes. This is a jump. This is straight away going on to impact. You have to prove to me why people, because capital punishment or death penalty does not exist, are suddenly going to become reckless or suddenly going to become immoral. These are logical proofs that you have to give. These logical proofs are what constitute the analysis, right? When you talk about logical proofs, this is what you have to prove. This is what is your burden. This is what is your responsibility to, so as to show that when the motion happens, when the motion is actually implemented, or in a specific situation, why does an actor react in a certain way so that the impacts happen. You have to prove to me, you're using logic, that A leads to B, B leads to C leads to finally D. And D is the entire crown of your impact. What is D? D is the last thing, is your impact. What are the changes on the entire world? Is the world going to improve? Say in the case of capital punishment or death penalty, if death penalty were to no longer exist, then somebody could say that people become reckless. This is a impact that requires analysis, right? If people start becoming reckless, this could mean, say, like poverty increases, unemployment increases, or like in general crime increases, hatred increases, there's more violence in society, people start dying, assassinations, killings are more frequent, right? This is like verifiably bad for the world, right? This is an impact which I can say is bad, right? So the entire point of an argument, understand that the entire point of an argument is in its impact. It's to prove that the impact is something that could help you win your debate, right? If you show that the world is better off, that the actor is better off, or the world is worse, or the actor is worse off, that all of that is proven is shown in your impact, but proven using your analysis and your premise. All right. So the analysis is like the middle floor, like 1 to 99th floor, and then the impact is the 100th floor, the last floor, the roof of your entire building. With that, like, you have to give proper importance to every single part. The impact is the thing that shines through the most, but then the analysis and the foundation, the premise, are the things that strengthen, give support to your entire impact. All right. So this is the entire laydown of what an argument should look like, right? Let us okay, I'll take the example of capital I hope everybody understood death penalty and capital punishments, by the way. I'll type the motion in the chat box. Right. All right. Any problem in okay, let's go back here. Any clarifications required?
Excuse me, sir.
Go ahead.
Can you please tell me the meaning of efficacy?
Achha, efficacy is like effectiveness. Is it actually solving the problem? How good is it at solving the problem? Right. Efficacy in a very mathematical sense means like output. Is it like positive output or negative output? So this comes under a term that we use called utilitarianism or utility. Utility means how is something going to benefit the world? Is it like positive or negative? So that's what you mean by utility or efficacy, right? Justifiability is something that is rooted in ethics. You should not harm another person. You should not harm another innocent person. That is ethics. Efficacy is, say, like harming a person would harm their like family, would cause like some sort of sadness for their family. That is going to be overall bad, right? Bad for the world because the family members are somewhat depressed by if you've harmed one specific person in a family. So that is what you mean by efficacy, right? I've over explained. Sorry.
I'm sorry, could you like show the thank you. The slide I wanted to ask for.
Yeah. Please go ahead. Somebody was saying something. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Advika, could you speak? All right. Ramya.
Excuse me, sir. Can you please explain the meaning of identifying stakeholders, premise, and problem?
Okay. Identifying stakeholders. We've already talked about stakeholder analysis, motion reading checklist. Mein. It basically means stakeholders are people who have a stake in this motion, are people who are affected by this motion, right? This motion talks about a specific group of people. They are our stakeholders. We should concern ourselves with them. We should focus on them, and we should talk about their benefits or what does the world look like for them, right? Those are our stakeholders. When you come to premise, you talk about the stakeholders, you talk about the world. What does the world look like in a situation where you're trying to debate in the case of, like, say, death penalty? The world is probably, say, like, law acts as a way to keep people away from committing crimes, right? This is very basic premise or characterization. The characterization here is law acts as a deterrent. Deterrent is basically something that keeps people away from something, right? So law acts as a deterrent for people from crime. It deters people from doing crime, right? So death penalty is somewhat effective in doing that, is where your analysis comes in. Anyways,
Excuse me, sir.
yes.
Excuse me, sir. Can you please turn on that page? There are 4 parts in that analysis one.
Yep. Yes.
So can you please explain these 4?
Oh, right. Yes. I was low on time, which is why I forgot to do that. Uh, like I mean, okay, we'll. I'm very sorry, but like because we got less than 17 minutes, we'll try to move ahead. Later on, if we like find any problem with understanding these four things, I'll come back to that. If we find time to address those, because there's a lot of other stuff for us. I'm really sorry because we're just low on time. Yeah. So Akshit, please go ahead.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, were you asking me to do something? I'm Advika. Actually, due to some connectivity issue, I left the meeting.
Okay. I remember you had raised your hand, which is why I asked. Do you have any doubt?
But you answered my doubt of that efficacy.
I see. I see. Fine. Fine. All right. Are you-
Is this where we apply like pestle analysis?
I'm sorry. I didn't
Is
get what
this
you said.
where we apply pestle analysis?
Fair, you could apply that in this situation or in impacts. Usually, you apply that in impacts. Why? Because you're talking about benefit or disadvantages.
Yeah, thanks.
Great. Uh, yeah. Any other doubts? I hope everybody understood what I'm talking about. Like, if can I like, okay, can I like, are there people who are willing to explain what premise is? If there's anybody who understood what premise is, just like raise your hand. If you're willing to explain somebody else. Great. Okay. I'll like briefly explain what premise is. I really hope everyone understood. Okay, Ayushi, go ahead.
I think premise is where like how does the problem arise in the first place? As you said, like capital punishment. Why does it arise? Because people steal or do crimes. It's like that.
Yeah, you're almost there. Ramya, go ahead.
Sir, premise is a characterization of the motion that what is the stakeholder, what is the character of the stakeholder, and also why does this the said problem arise in the first place? How will the stakeholder of the motion react if the given decision takes place?
Great. Okay. That's okay. So, like, a categorization is basically, or a premise is basically something that establishes stakeholder behavior, that establishes how people are going to behave, how do they operate, how do they make decisions, what is important to them, right?
Yes,
People, I mean stakeholders. Stakeholders are the people whom this motion affects. So, in the case of banning ChatGPT for schoolwork, the stakeholders are students. How do students like? How do students behave? The students have homework that they don't want to do or they find very difficult. Yeah, Ramya, go ahead. Yeah, you can speak, Ramya. Ramya, are you saying something?
sir, I had a problem with that slide show that you were correctly teaching before after the premise identifying stakeholders and problem.
Acha, okay. We'll get to that. Like first, let us make sure premise is well understood. Subse. Ayog, you have something to say?
Yes, sir. So can you explain our premise once again, sir?
Right. Premise में basically we're talking about why does this problem happen in the case of ChatGPT. ChatGPT
The
situation.
reason.
Right. The reason. Right. Students are lazy. Students sometimes find questions to be very difficult for them to solve. Uh, Teachers give difficult questions to students. This could mean that this could probably the reason why this could probably be the reason why students resort to using ChatGPT as help for homework. Right. This is your characterization. What do students
Mm.
want? Students want that their work gets completed. Right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hmm.
Thank
Anybody
you, sir.
else? Oh, great. Okay. All right. I'm hoping everybody understood premise. Yeah. Okay. I hope everybody understood premise. Let's move on to analysis.
Yes,
Analysis.
sir. Yes.
Yes. Analysis is basically the part where you explain why things will happen if, I mean, what are the immediate results of, say, ChatGPT getting banned or death penalty getting banned? What are the immediate results of ChatGPT getting banned? In the situation of, I'm just talking about immediate results. What, like, this, like, come up with anything that you. Ayushi, go ahead.
I think students will protest also, like they will be sad, angry. They won't do something, but like the young adults, like 18 to 20, they would protest more because like they use work in work, they use ChatGPT.
ChatGPT for schoolwork.
Okay.
Ban the use of ChatGPT for schoolwork.
Then the students will use other parts. Like they won't use ChatGPT, but they might use Google.
Right. So, okay. So this is analysis. We've already proven in our, this is a fair like argument. What is the, like, the premise here is students will only care about completing their homework, come what may. If it's not through ChatGPT, they'll resort to some other means. Right. The analysis here is, if ChatGPT gets banned for schoolwork, they'll look for other places, mainly because why? They're lazy. Right. So the analysis here is just, the intent of the analysis is to show that people are going to resort to other things. We'll come on to impacts later on, but then the analysis is just to prove that in this specific argument is to prove that children are not going to stop. They're just going to go to either Google or maybe some other places, right? I hope that was clear. Yeah, Ayushi, go ahead.
Yeah, and after a few time, there will be like other ChatGPT, like other bots created. I'm pretty sure, like after some time.
That comes under like impacts. Right? That's not immediate analysis. I hope like the difference is. Oh, okay, interesting. What if they use a VPN? That is interesting solution.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
let's just say like they can't use ChatGPT for school. They just can't. Right. I mean, it becomes very circumventing of them. Right. I understand what you're trying to tell here, but then that's not the point of the debate. The point of the debate is whether like the merits or demerits of ChatGPT for schoolwork. Right. And then if the
Excuse me,
absence
sir.
of ChatGPT, what is the cause? Yeah, go ahead.
The government can also do that they can only ban in the chat gpt that only for the school work the chat gpt is not allowed. They can also use that.
That is in the motion. Yeah. Yes.
I was trying to say that they can do that the school the searching for school assignments and school work is banned in ChatGPT. They can also do that. The government.
Yeah. That's a fair way to, like, they can't. I'm just saying it's not.
Like they can't use for school assignments and school work.
Yeah.
For school
I
assignments.
understood. Yeah, for just school assignments. I understood what you're trying to say. But then the point here is like, let's just say there's a method by which, by even using VPN, you cannot access ChatGPT. I guess that is something that both
Yes,
sides
sir.
will try to agree on. I got your point.
Sir, there are too many loopholes to try and ban in ChatGPT, so it might be better if we do, because there are way too many loopholes.
Fair. I mean, that's a argument per se. But
Can I
then,
say
like,
something for it?
In the
Mhm.
real life, based on real life, there are a lot of loopholes, so I don't think it would make any sense to ban. But we could do something like parental control or something like that, so that they use it in moderation and not for, all the time, or just give a prompt and copy paste it and give it.
Right. Yeah. Fair.
I mean, like Akshara said, but like at some point, the children they would get bored because like ChatGPT gives them easily answers. So they would get bored, and at some point, they would write their own assignment or something given to them. That would be a small
Yes,
percentage.
sir.
Ooh, that is interesting. Well,
Sir,
eventually
but
the kids
I
are going to be
don't
bored
think
of.
that is that is bound to happen because nowadays people are just going more lazy and lazier. So
Yeah,
they
Yes,
would most
sir.
probably resort more towards ChatGPT in the future.
yeah. Please speak one one at a time. I can't. Okay, I heard what you said. Yeah, Ayushi, your point is valid if you're able to give proper logical like analysis to it. Right, the analysis part is very important. You have to prove to me that like people are going to get bored of ChatGPT after some time, right? Then they're going to come back to doing manual hard work. Uh, uh, this would, but there's a lot of
Yeah,
proving
but like at
manual.
some point, some people use it as like on daily basis. So like if ChatGPT gets banned, if it does, then at some point they would think like, why do I look for a lot of stuff when I can write it on myself? Because at some point, everybody does want to write something, does want to do something adventurous. Some people do like writing. They would find out that. But yeah, banning ChatGPT could be a good thing as well.
Excuse me,
Uh,
sir.
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sir, if the ChatGPT will be banned, so we will write on our own, and our mind will also get sharp, and our concentration will also be so we increase, and our eyes we are seeing on a mobile, so eyes are also getting eyes light is also getting decreased, so it can also be increased.
Right. Like talking about what you just said, what you like most of what you said is like just 2 minutes of silence because most of what you said that like there's like eyesight is going to improve, people are going to become more creative, people are going to engage actively in doing the work that has been given to them instead of resorting to say chat GPT. This is all impact. What you said is all impact. Try to give to me analysis as to why people are going to simply stop using internet as a whole, right? Internet, and they're going to stop as in because LLMs are no longer in their within their access, they're going to stop using internets and they're going to go back to this is not very difficult for you to prove, but when you're trying to give an argument in a proper speech, try to give analysis. The why are students going to somehow like come back to the older times of learning, say, right? That why is very important because then you can properly cement your argument. The adjudicator or the judge will have to accept your argument, right? So that is like answering the why questions is a very important part of establishing any argument. If you're able to properly give me layers of analysis as to why is this going to happen, why is that going to happen, then your impact becomes much more clearer, much more possible, right? I'm going to take these last three questions and then we're going to move on to. Okay, we've just got 5 minutes. We're going to move on to questions for now. Yeah.
It's mine. Sir, what if there is a reason that students would stop using? Because most students are gonna give very similar prompts. So if that is the case, then ChatGPT will give very similar answers to every student, and most students want their answers to appear unique, so that can be a reason they stop using it.
I guess, yeah, fair. Uh, hmm, um, Ramya. Aviril, your point is valid, but then we're talking about LLMs in general. Like even Gemini or Google's AI, search AI comes under that. Comes under like when I say ChatGPT, I also mean all other LLMs. Ayushi.
Excuse me, sir.
Let Ayushi speak first.
So can you please explain analysis because I can't understand.
Yeah, I will. Go ahead, Ayushi.
Yeah, I wanted to say that like in 6 to 8, like for schoolwork you're saying, right? ChatGPT should be banned
Mm-hmm.
for schoolwork. So like 6 to 8, I have seen my classmates don't use a lot of ChatGPT. Like I've seen. So mostly ChatGPT is used by 9th to 12th or like college students. So that would be fine, but like we don't use it a lot, so that won't be a problem for like schoolwork or so.
Yeah, I mean, when I talk about schoolwork, it includes like all classes. So like it's not specifically targeted towards you or towards even if you do use it, it's even targeted towards the people who don't use it, right? Because say you're in a class where you're a person who doesn't use it, there are other people who do use it, then this motion concerns you as well because you're in the same class with them. Like this is a deeper stakeholder analysis. You're trying to segment stakeholders. So like this comes under characterization, right? You're
But
trying to talk about people who do and don't use. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but the most people who use it are mostly like in 9th to 12th because they need it for schoolwork. They have a lot of piled up and college work also.
Fair. I mean, I don't really disagree with you. But then we're talking about all school children, school students across the board, huh? Advika.
So can you please tell the meaning of paradigm?
Okay, paradigm. Paradigm basically means world or side, right? Paradigm means a side of a debate wherein they're trying to uh, propose for a specific world to happen. They're saying that this specific thing should happen, and that world is a paradigm. That situation that they're trying to support is a paradigm. Opposition will try to support one specific situation in which the world looks a specific way. Government will try to support one specific situation, one specific world in which things look in a somewhat different way. These are two different paradigms, two different situations. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. If you have any like complaints, please like don't use messages. Just like raise your hand and talk. Ramya.
Can you please explain the meaning of analysis?
Yeah, I will. All right. I'll explain analysis. Then we move on to examples. I'm very sorry we're low on time. Can we like is Krishna from Vertex here? If possible, can we take like 15 minutes more?
Yeah, so maybe you can take if these children allow.
Yeah, it's fine if anybody wants to leave. If you're interested, like stick around. We've got examples wherein we like discuss or through emotions we'll discuss.
Excuse me, sir. So I have to go somewhere, sir. Can I leave?
Yeah, you don't need to ask. You can leave if you want. Just like don't need to ask. All right. Explaining analysis. What is analysis? Analysis is the part where you explain. Okay. Say like I'll come up. I'll use another example. Say like capital punishments, or hmm. Okay. Interesting. Uh, there is motion says this house supports the buy local campaign in developing countries. I'll type it out for you.
Could you explain it? What's
Yeah, I will. Yeah. All right. This house supports the buy local campaign in developing countries. What does a buy local campaign mean? It is basically a advertising campaign or a publicity campaign where you are pushing for local products, local industries. You're supporting them publicly and even through like say policies, through like say like tax or tariffs or like whatever methods. Yeah, it's sort of like vocal for local, right? So this house supports the buy local campaign in developing countries. This is a very interesting motion. You could get into it, get into a lot of depth. Can you tell me what is the main issue that the motion is trying to solve? This is an example, I guess. I don't know. Okay. Hmm. Problem. Akshara Bansal. Go ahead.
Sir, in supporting the economy of the country and boosting it because they're making the products on their own. तो कम पैसा लग रहा है देखो exporting or importing में तो
Nee,
economy support
understand,
हो रही
understand
है.
my question. What is the main problem this motion is trying to solve?
Excuse me, sir.
Helping the economy
That's not
and
a problem. That's not a problem.
supporting the country's
Nee,
main culture kind of.
yeah, I
Excuse me,
understand what you're trying to say. Those are impacts, right? You're saying that by local for local, you're going to support the economy, support the culture. I need to understand what is the problem. What is the problem that is being faced by people here, Ayushi?
because people
excuse me, sir.
Yeah, Ramya.
So can you please repeat the question example?
It's in the this. I'll pin it on the chat box. I hope you can see it.
Okay, sir.
people usually buy foreign countries saman like normally they buy foreign products so that also um, So the developing country needs its people to buy their own stuff.
Yeah, fair. That's a like fair analysis of the situation. Vanya, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Sir, uh, all the products that we are buying from foreign countries, the distribution is happening in their country, and we are just paying the money. So if we buy local and make everything in our own country, we are providing employment also to people of our country.
Again, I'll repeat my question. What is the main problem here? I'll kind like help you out. The main problem
Excuse me,
here,
sir.
yeah, Ramya.
So can you please explain the example? I can't understand, so I'm not able to frame the problem.
Okay. Did you read the the motion
Yes,
statement?
sir. Yes, sir. The buy
iLocal
local campaign.
Yeah,
Development.
iLocal campaign is basically similar to Vocal for Local. It's promoting local industries, local handicrafts, local art, uh, local manufacturing, right? In developing countries. Developing countries is also a very important part of the characterization that is going to happen. So the
Yes,
problem
sir.
here, as has been established by other people as well, is the problem. Main issue here is that local industries are not getting enough funding, do not have the proper kind of resources to be able to expand and grow. Three, they don't have this kind of demand that say like multinational companies, corporations that are very big, they don't have that kind of demand, so they can't really compete with them, right? In terms of their output, in terms of their general capability. That this is the problem, right? I hope that's clear. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So identifying the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders here? These are basically people who own these small. Yeah,
Who
Ayushi, go
own
ahead.
these local?
Huh. People who own these small shops, say like the economy of the developing country itself, the developing people in the developing country itself. Uh, there are other things that you can tackle here, but these are the main two stakeholders. A, the people who own small industries or indigenous industries, local industries, and B, the people of the country, the developing country itself. All right. I'll move on to premise before. After that, I'll take any doubts. The premise here. What is the premise? The premise is basically you've got a country where either people are not as their standard of living is not as equal to people in developed countries. Their production output is not as much. They need some sort of support, they need some sort of promotion, they need some sort of help, right? Also, a lot of small scale industries, the either their output or their quality is somewhat or their price cannot compete with that of larger companies which exist on a multinational level, right? They exist on in multiple countries, they have got multiple offices, they've got factories everywhere, they've got employees working for them. Compared to those companies, a smaller industry might not be able to compete. By compete, I mean people, if they have to make the choice between the small industry and a larger corporation, many a time it becomes that this larger corporation gets their money, right? Gets their demand. That's what like attracts them.
Because people are prejudiced towards it, because people think like someone in the comment wrote that generally local products have inferior quality. Not really. If you actually go look into it, they really have good quality, better than the large industries. They just don't look over it because they think that foreign products are better because they're prejudiced.
Yeah, you could talk about prejudice. You could talk about the reason why people don't like to go for local products and why vocal for local but buy local campaigns could help in promoting local industries. Akshara.
I have a doubt. Uh,
Yeah.
Usually in India, there's this vocal for local campaign. No? So in I've seen it on cars, छोटे से stickers लगे होते हैं vocal for local. टाटा की cars पे लगे होते हैं, but I don't see how Tata is not a big revenue company. उसमें बहुत revenue है Tata के पास. So why is it a part of vocal for local?
I mean, I'm not really arguing for the way that like Indian government has implemented vocal for local. in this specific motion, when we talk about buy local campaigns, we say you're promoting local infrastructure, local industries, local handicrafts, local arts. I mean, in implementation, let's say in India, it might look a bit different. Might look a bit different. I'm not sure. But like this is what we're going to define buy local as. Buy local campaign as that we're promoting local products. I mean, I do understand what you're trying to say. I'm going to move ahead. Um, yeah, analysis. The why part of the argument. Say like, okay, vocal for local or buy local campaigns are being excessively pushed, right? What happens in that situation? In that situation, the consumers, people who are looking to buy products, are somewhat told that they can. 1 second. Are somewhat told that they should go for local products. They are being like socially told, like socially conditioned, socially convinced. There is some sort of social pressure for them to go and get these locally produced products, right? What is going to happen then? Then what is going to happen is that there is some sort of demand for local manufacturers. Local manufacturers are going to find that there is a active customer base that is seeking their products, that is wanting to buy their products, right? This is the initial analysis. What are the impacts? Can anybody come up with impacts? This is like very something that people have talked about before as well. Yeah, Akshara.
Supporting these small people, these small shops will boost the economy and will reduce greenhouse gases because of less exports and everything.
Okay. The greenhouse gases point, like, give me like there should be proper analysis or like proper logic. You should say that okay, shipping requires ships. There's a lot of wastage that is involved
Transportation
there.
is expensive.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, mention that when you're doing in actual debate. Mention that, and this will be easily credited to you. Ayushi.
I give an example, like China has banned all foreign products, like they don't bring in foreign products. But
Mhm.
I don't think so. That will be a good idea to like ban all of them
Yeah.
because India is a very secular country. So like we need all the products. But yeah, I think we should local. They have made it such diverse that you can find everything nowadays.
Right. Okay. So what you're talking about is like a freedom of choice for the consumer. A consumer, if they want to, they can go for like a multinational company, right? They should go outside. When we talk about a buy local campaign, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're banning imports. You're banning other countries from sending things to you, right? Selling things to you. So like, it's more about like convincing people or like telling people that local products can also be good, right? That's the entire point of a buy local campaign. All right. Another thing, can somebody come up with a uh, like a opposition argument?
Excuse me,
Give
sir.
me opposite answer. Yes.
Sir, I would like to justify Ayushi.
Hmm.
Like in China, they don't bring foreign products in their country, but they usually copy foreign products and their like brand names and all.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's a very sidetrack. I'm very sorry. We're very little over time.
Sir,
Yes. Yes.
sir, I want to say that like the local that are there in local products, so there are the copies of foreign brands. Like there are the copies like of the shoes, the Nike shoes. There are many copies of the like many copies are there of the original brands.
Sir, like out of
I have
Gucci, they made out of Gucci also they made a copy brand.
right. When I talk about local products, I mean Madhubani, I mean Sari, I mean Zagari, I mean local art, right?
Excuse me, sir.
I understand what you mean by like second copy, third copy, but
Excuse
then
me, sir.
yeah.
So we know that the local products are also good, but we shouldn't ban foreign products
We're not
also.
banning foreign products. It's about promoting local
Yes,
products. Not support the buy local campaign basically means promoting the existence of local
yes,
products,
sir.
sale of
Yes.
local products. Right.
I have an opposition.
Yes,
You wanted
please.
to
Thank you.
opposition.
Yes.
Usually, these buy local things that they're buying, they're higher prices, higher price because they're mostly handmade and they put more hard work into it than bigger companies would, so they're higher price as per an individual item. But overall, I think it would be better.
Okay, so like come up with like try to give me you've given to me some sort of premise, right? You said it is difficult for them to produce these like say some sort of a product because say like manufacturing costs are higher. Like companies have got big machines, they've got industries massively optimized, like they're literally saving money to the penny, right? They're literally saving every single rupee that they can, while here there's a lot of inefficiencies. I get, like try to analyze why and analyze what would happen in the situation where there is a influx of demand, right? And then analyze the impacts. So like this is a fair like fair premise that would give you a proper argument. Try to look for a proper argument. I should like stop you in your tracks though, because we've got some more examples that like this may we've fleshed out every single argument for you so that you could we'll just do one because like we've got two more, but we don't have the time for that. So we're just going to do one. Yeah.
Can I
The
just say
house.
something?
Mhm. Yeah,
I'm so
okay, go
sorry.
ahead. It's fine, it's fine.
Like Akshra said, but I mean, sorry. Uh, Local companies, they usually have better products because they hand make it. Like most of the companies, when they're small and all, they hand make it, and that's really rare. But like large industries, they usually have machines and so like you get what I'm trying to say.
I did understand. I got it. This is good, like in-depth characterization. This is I'm very happy that you guys came up with this because this is where entire op case lies, opposition case lies. Using this, I'll just give you some hints. Like using this, you can sort of prove that possibly they're going to, because of the sudden influx, they're going to become unreliable, sort of unreliable, because it they do not have the specific capacity or the capability to cater to such high demand. So it is not necessary that it is going to improve them. Like it, like we consumers, right? In the end, all we care about, in again, this is the premise. What do consumers care about? Quality of the product. It should be durable. It should serve the purpose. Why did I buy it? It should serve that purpose, right? If I find that this does not happen, I'm simply going to move to a cheaper alternative that does the same job for me. So if in local situations where either it is more like either expensive or it is somewhat not as like multi-purpose or like properly built as something that a company would give me in some situations, which it could be true, I'm simply going to move to international alternatives, right? Okay, I think we should like stop that. Think about it. This is a very interesting motion. If you want, just like note it down. Yeah, just like try to build a proper case for both sides and then see where that leads you. All right. One last thing. The House would adopt gender quota policies in corporate senior management. This we're just going to tackle the gov case. What do you mean by gender quota policies? It basically means that a specific percentage of seats, a specific percentage of positions are going to be reserved for women. Right? Are going to be reserved for women in the sense that nobody else can occupy them. Right? To understand what a quota is, right? Only women will occupy them, and they will be having those positions. Right? Corporate senior management, matlab, say like CEOs, managers, people who engage not directly in technical terms, in technical fields, but engage in managing people, managing resources, so on and so forth. Right. I hope it is clear. Are there any clarifications required here?
Yeah, could you say it again? I'm so sorry.
Yes,
It's
sir.
fine. Yes. I hope I'm audible. If it's something on my end.
No, sir,
Okay.
but I can't understand.
Oh, I'm very sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll say again. I'll speak like slowly. Adopting gender quota policy means that you're reserving good seats for women, which means that like no men cannot occupy. Say like you've got 10 seats, you say 2 seats are for women, or like 3 seats are for women. Only women can come and occupy them. What seats? These are seats in senior management, matlab CEOs, board of directors, managers. In these places, you're going to reserve seats for women. Right. That is what this motion is trying to tell you. This motion is telling you that the house would reserve seats in higher management for women. Right, some percentage of the seats for women. Okay.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir,
Yes.
can you please
Yeah.
explain me the whole example?
Okay. Should I like explain the entire
Whole
as
example,
in
like
motion?
adopt gender quota policies in corporate senior management.
Okay, adopting gender quota policies again. Oh my god.
Me, sir.
Uh,
So there is a lot of irony going on in the chat.
Yes, sir.
Please take a
There's
look.
a
Yes,
lot of
sir.
argument going on
Yes, sir.
between.
Sir, can you please see?
I mean, this is not something I can control. I'll just like turn off everyone can send messages. I'm sorry. Like freedom of speech does not exist here. Anyways, the House would adopt gender quota policies. Again, what I mean by that is reserving specific seats for women. Out of say 10 seats, you're going to reserve 3 seats only for women. You're going to wait for women to apply and you're going to give them
Excuse me,
those
sir.
seats. Yep.
Excuse sir, I'm asking you like that. How we will adopt gender quota policy in corporate senior management? I'm asking you that. I'm not asking the.
Acha. Okay. Okay. I'll tell you what it looks like. Say government tomorrow passes a law that says in positions of board of directors, like they can pass a law that just basically forces companies to reserve seats. That's what it could look like. I hope you like I hope that solved your problem.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But shouldn't that be completely by choice? Like what women want to do, what men want to do.
That is I mean that's the motion, I guess. That's the
Yes, sir. That's the
center of the motion.
motivation.
I guess. Well, that's the I mean do you want to or do you not want to? If you say adopting gender quota policies, you're saying that it's a hard rule. 20% or 30% hamesha will be for women. And you should say that, okay, I mean, you're trying to tell me that like good situations may it should be the choice up to the people, but then no. That won't be
Yes,
there in
sir.
at least government ke side mein, they just say that 20% hard line or 30% hard line. All right, okay. What is the problem here? What is the problem that this motion is trying to solve? Any solutions? Raise of hands. All right. Ayushi, then Akshara.
Gender inequality, because like in India it's a big issue.
Yep. Fair. I think we can summarize it in gender inequality. Anything else, Akshara?
Nothing.
I
I mean, that's like the main problem, and might be the one and only problem
yeah,
it's trying to solve.
yeah. So like lack of representation of women in workplaces. That is the central problem, right? Gender inequality bolo. There are different ways that you can phrase it. Gender inequality or lack of representation. There is a right. So when you talk about stakeholders, so there's a very broad categorization you can do. There is a refined categorization. You could just talk about women, right? Women could be your stakeholders.
And the
Sir,
companies and the companies.
Yeah. Please like raise your hand and then speak, please. Ramya, go ahead. Yep.
Can I also say one point on like? So
Uh,
there is a
is it
big
okay? Like stick to the topic, right? Are you talking
yes,
about the
sir.
problem?
Topic. Yes, sir. So the biggest problem in India is that the family say that the woman only have to do marriage, they don't do any work. There is the biggest problem in India. That is the biggest problem. So that's why
They
women can't
actually,
do. Because of,
most.
excuse me, sir, may I speak?
Like go one after the other, please. Thanks. And raise your hand if you have something to speak.
So that because of this pressure, women can't do anything and they do only marriage.
Fair. There is societal. Okay. To rephrase what you just said, there
Yes,
is
Sir,
sir.
I would like.
Sir, social pressure.
right. Correct.
Sir,
Akshara.
I would like to add a point at Ramya's
Yes.
justification.
Yep.
Sir, most of the times, only their husbands and their family members force them not to, or
So
or their relatives, uh, pressurize their, pressurize them, or they pressurize their husbands and all. That is why.
Pressurize their husbands. What do you mean by that?
I mean that they tell their husbands and like their in-laws to not to make their like women work, because that does not, it's not
Oh,
right
okay.
actually, because some places still in India are working according to this only.
You don't need to defend
Excuse me, sir.
like misogyny or anti equality.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Sir,
Sir, may
may
I
I
speak
speak
one
now
point?
because my hand's been raised for a while?
Yeah, I think Akshara should go
Huh.
first, and then
Sir,
Ramya.
to identify the stakeholders, not only women are the stakeholders, but the corporate management companies are also a stakeholder because they're also affected by it.
Nice. This is good. This is like everything that we should talk about when it comes to stakeholders. Ramya.
So there is one more point that after the like if woman is doing a job, so after the marriage, the in-laws and the whole family and the husband also forced to do not do the job after the marriage.
That is a part of the problem, right? There exists a social problem, social uh, tendencies against women being able to work in workplaces, going to offices, right? All right. Set up the premise. We identified stakeholders. Yeah, corporate organizations is a very good find. There is a more refined categorization you can give. Either like women who are already very well established in corporate workforces, women who are at the top or like the topmost positions in companies, who are already working, who are already getting to work, and we've got women who don't have a strong footing, right? We've got women who don't either not able to find jobs or are not are pushed away from finding jobs, right? These are our stakeholders. I'll quickly summarize premise for you because this is something that everybody has already talked about, right? So when it comes to premise, you have to establish why does there exist a lack of representation? Why is there some sort of hostility, some sort of lack of like discomfort for women when it comes to going to workplaces, or why is it difficult for them to join workplaces, right? There is an inherent lack of representation because they do not this is another very important part of the premise when you talk about having role models. Like when a person aspires to be a part of a company or like tries to move up the corporate ladder, they need some sort of models. In a lot of in at least in the case of women in workplaces, we don't have as many models. So this becomes a very big problem, and this should be a part of your premise, right? When you talk about lack of opportunity, there is historic oppression, right? Oppression, I mean like hate towards one community. That's what oppression means, right? Historically, there has been hate towards women in general, or women going to work, right? Workplaces are male dominated, misogynistic. Misogynistic means against women, right? Like hatred towards women is sort of misogynism, right? So workplaces are male dominated, and there is a absence of safe spaces, places where women can find that they are comfortable working. All right, this is one part. One part was talking about their comfort in workplaces. The other part is lack of inspiration. Society itself does not push women to work harder towards their goals or work in the first place. So, like when it comes to inspiration and role models, we have a severe lack of that in society. So it becomes very important for that to be completely like established when you talk about the problem, right? The problem being lack of representation, lack of support for women, right? So this absence of inspiration, absence of role models is also an important part of your premise. Yes. So this is something, these are all parts that you should, things that you should mention when it comes to your argument. Akshara, go ahead.
A premise could be prejudices against.
Yeah.
Lack of
Similar.
opportunities. They don't get much opportunities as compared.
Yes.
Sir, that could also be a reasoning, right? Because that's kind of like the topic only.
That's a part of your premise. I think that should be a part of your premise. That's the reason why there exists this problem exists in the first place. I hope that was clear. Garv, sorry, Nitya first.
Thank you, sir. Sir, one problem can also be the reasons that because there are some fields, let's consider engineering, like there are some people who would like to go for it, but like we hear everyone saying that there are majority of uh, males. So, like it will form the minority of females, which will eventually lead to more selections of males. So that can
Okay,
be one
right.
reason.
This is a good premise, but then we're talking about managerial positions. Okay, I understand what you're saying. We'll quickly move on to analysis because we're like 28 minutes over time. Uh, I mean, if there are any doubts like this, I hope I can clear them.
I think so. The class is going to get over on 6:30.
Yeah. I'm going to make sure I go fast. Anyways, analysis. What happens if this thing happens? Adopting gender quota policies in corporate senior management. This adoption happens, right? How are companies going to respond? How are women going to respond? If the quota exists, then companies will start taking in more females, right? They've got as compared to earlier, they've got a set quota now, which means make sure that females will join join the workforce, right? So the immediate impact, the immediate result of that is going to be women employment is going to go up. There is going to be greater representation. This is this is like analysis. The why when you move on to impacts, these are the questions. These are the answers to any questions that will arise. That's where the analysis lies. And understand the importance of analysis. You're trying to use reasoning to make sure that you can predict what's going to happen when this motion actually comes to happen. When this motion actually happens, right? How do companies respond? How do women respond? How does society respond? These are three things, three parts. This is how we are going to. This is how they've been described, right? Moving on to impacts. Now that you've seen that there is greater representation, companies have taken in more females, that this means that there are safer workspaces. Workspaces are going to be somewhat less hostile towards women working because there are simply more women working there now. Right? Women understand other women. So this means that if there are any problems that are facing women, that are being faced by women, sorry, they'll be able to understand that. They'll be able to empathize or be more compassionate towards them and try to help other women, right? Whereas in the case where men were managing women, that empathy or that bond was never there. So the safety of a workplace or the sense of comfort or the sense of belonging in a workplace is significantly higher in a world where quota exists because we've proven that there is greater representation. All right. Now that there are more positions available for women, there are more opportunities to learn and grow. Like we've got higher positions wherein we are looking for women to join, right? So there are more opportunities for them to learn and grow. Acceptance of females in the workplace. Also, we've tackled the first part. The second part was about role models. Now that there are like CEOs who are females, there are higher up managers who are females. There are people boards who are the boards of directors who are females, angel investors who are females. This sort of creates a role model ecosystem where other people who are looking to join the corporate force are find somebody to relate to, somebody that they can see as a role model, as an icon. So like, this is very important because this is going to further boost women employment, right? Uh, okay, the rest are like easily implied. I'll talk about them. I heard hands. Yes, Ayushi.
I think the thing is that women aren't, they are, there isn't awareness about this most. That's why they don't apply for it. So,
Acha, Nini, we're talking about a world where quota is implemented. I
oh,
didn't understand what you're trying to say though.
no, I wanted to say, like you were saying, women role models. There aren't much awareness for people to like do stuff. For example, like
Right.
if a person wants to do, if a girl wants to do, take this part of, they take this stream, they don't have enough awareness about it. That's why they don't take it and take a easier part.
Hmm. Right. Okay. Hmm. This is something that you could tackle in your impact. Say like now that there are more women who are employed and who are at the upper levels, they're going to make sure that the uh, gateway, the door is more open for other women. Information is more freely accessible. Right. They feel some sort of responsibility towards other women. ये थोड़ा analysis देके you can prove your impact that women are going to have easier access to these positions because of easy access to information. Right, Ramya.
Sir, that this sir, I was asking that this point can be in the analysis that the if the quota exists, companies that if the quota exists, the companies will take more females, and there will be the development of country and economy and the
Okay.
economy of the country.
Uh, you have to prove to me why taking in females will directly lead to improvement of the company's operations. Matlab,
Sir, because
that comes in
sir, because
analysis.
yes, sir. Sir, because more and more, when the females become so more, people will be there, and the work that is going to be done is one way, sir. So the work
I
that
understand.
is
I
yes,
understand. I'm very sorry. Very sorry to cut you off. Like we've got
so one,
very like zero time. Please summarize fast. Thanks.
sir. If the work will be done faster, so that's why it will be the economy will grow faster, and the country will also develop faster.
Right. Like there is more analysis to what you said because you have to prove to me why having females is going to improve productivity. I understood what you said. Great.
Yes, sir.
Akshara.
Sir, you said you analysis for why hiring women will improve the company. Sir, there could be a reason the companies that promote stuff like SDGs and equality is one of the SDGs. They're generally more popular for doing all this, and uh, having a quota will make them more popular in such ways. So it might boost the economy of the company.
Okay, this is okay, because like this appeals to people. If people find that a company is more like fair towards treating women, then it somehow becomes more popular. Yes, yes. Aishi.
As to what Ramya said, she's right that like taking in more women could create a change because the whole industry or the whole market is male dominated. Okay, so like if some change happens, if women take positions, there could be like a lot of changes, a lot of things that other people relate to. Because I'm pretty not sure. I know that women take small things and like they notice small things, and those small things can really differ.
Excuse
Yeah,
me, sir.
there is more like as in you have to. I understand what you're trying to say. That's a very heavy burden to prove that like women are going to lead to better output. But I got what you said.
Excuse me,
True.
sir.
Agree. Ramya, yes.
Excuse me, sir. As Ayushi said that the women notice small things, the smallest things, so that mistakes that are being done in the machines or anything, in any company or any work, so that mistakes will also become less.
Like you have to prove to me why. Like let me tell you how I see this situation. I think that in terms of business decisions, women or men are equally going to make the same kind of decisions. What
Yes, sir.
matters more is opportunity. How many women are able to like take part in that decision making? Like earlier, it used to be just men. Now it is men and a good amount of women. This is the change that we're looking for. Like trying to prove that a company is going to become overall in general better off. Akshara ka mechanization was good in terms of saying that companies are going to become more popular. In that sense, they'll become profitable. That is good.
Yes, sir.
That's a better way to
Sir,
go
they
with
Sir,
it.
will also become.
One at a time, please. Thanks. Okay, like Ishani first.
Yes, sir. So it will eventually it will allow women empowerment, and then like after seeing one woman, other women will be like encouraged to like take at least a step and at least they'll try. And also one more thing, like I'm not going against the motion, but one point that getting the output, like the output will be better if in a workplace like women are there. That's a stereotyping because male dominant work fields, I mean there are many workplaces where most of the time we find male colleagues only. So like it's okay. The output over there is also good. I mean, these sarkari daftars, so there most of the time they are male people only, and over there is very much corruption. But at the same time, we find people who are loyal towards their work, and like the output thing is a stereotype. So like, I would just.
I mean, I'm not going to agree or disagree with you because I don't see a very clear resolution to this. Output, I say, like, how do you quantify output? There's a this like entire discussion. How do you talk about output? What
I,
is output?
I think I have a reasoning for women being
Correct.
better
Yeah.
because they have less opportunities, so they are going to take advantage of whatever opportunity they have. So it in the end might result in a better output. Might.
Can I say
Better output for women, you could say. Yeah.
Ishani said that men are loyal. I have a lot of like examples. Can we also say examples? इसमें examples हो सकते हैं?
I mean,
We
okay.
also have a lot of examples.
The context of what Ishani was trying to say, like the entire central theme was like adding females does not directly imply better output. Was her point? I get what you're trying to say here. I mean, the example she gave was very interesting. Is there anything else people want to add? Yeah, Ishani, do you have something to say?
No, sorry.
Yeah, fine. Yes. Oh my God, it's like what's the time? 6:40. Okay. Uh, right. So we're going to, as in this is where we're going to end. But I'm going to give you like two other motions on which I hope you do ponder. Right. The next one is the House would ban celebrities from expressing political views on public platforms. I'm going to type it out so that you can.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So can you please give these examples on the general group?
Yeah.
For this thing, do we have to go for or against in this one?
You can go either way. Matlab, I think it's a good exercise ke you think from both sides, come up with good arguments from both sides. That's how we like.
Like a
That's the
turn
best way to. Yes. Like we've, yeah, काफी कुछ किया था, but then we don't have the time to discuss this.
So can we do 5 minutes?
I am being told repeatedly to end. This is very interesting exercise. Like I hope you guys do it in your own way. So that
Yes,
I'm really,
sir.
sorry because we don't have the time. Yes. And that is where we shall. Oh, okay. 13 people. Nice. That is where we shall end this session. Um. I don't really know how to end this, but I hope you guys learned something. At least like thoda sa less hua. If you took anything from this, it's that like a structure with proper logic is very important to your case. A lot of people think of debate. When they think of debate, they only think of impact. But you have to back it up with proper analysis. You have to show that people are going to act the way. Why are people going to act the way you think they will? This is very important. So, this is the entire purpose of this session. Yes, Ayushi.
I'm sorry, but like on a very different note, how long have you been debating for?
I've been debating for like, I started in 6th. School debating I started in 6th. Uske baad se when I came into college, like proper debating shuru kiya tha. School mein we did like very casual kind of debating. It was not as structured as we do it now.
Thanks.
So,
It was really nice meeting. I hope you I hope I meet you.
likewise. Yes, guys, please keep debating. It's a very fun thing, well, irrespective of what you do.
I
Just debate.
want to become a lawyer when I grow up. So yeah.
Ooh, nice. Very like lawyers are very frequent debaters. Whether debating competitions, they're like one of the most frequent, like fervent participants. Sabse
There
zyada
was
wahi
a time I wanted to become a lawyer at this age, but then I decided not to.
I'm interested to see how do you do that? Matlab, how do you become a lawyer at your age?
So in my when I play with my friends, they have lots of drama going on. So I just support one of the teams, and
Damn. I mean, you're like a, I don't know. There's this thing called
Insider lawyer. Insider
ah,
lawyer.
very
I
interesting.
always liked fighting by words.
Oof. Damn. Heavy words. Heavy. All right.
Heavy but true. Heavy but
Bye.
true.
Very
Yes, sir. Very well true.
Yeah, thank you,
Nice.
sir. Bye.
Bye bye, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Bye,
Have
sir.
fun.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye, sir.
Bye bye.